Welcome to another presentation at the East Trade Wins, hosted by Bernie Fransgrote and Wayne Pratt. Our guest is Tracy Durant from NationBuild.
I really want to put forward to everybody is it's called the Talent Box Solution. It's a skills box, a group of masterminds coming together thinking. This picture I did through Gemini, and I asked it to give me a picture of somebody who is thinking, I can't do this. I'm too afraid, because you'll speak to a lot of people who are afraid of leaning into change. They're really afraid of change, which is your left-hand side. And on your right-hand side are people that are mindful. They focus very much on their minds. Somebody said, it's really important to start your day with intention. And that is absolutely right. So who you surround yourself with is who you become. So on the right-hand side is a smart city and ideas, etc. Okay, so my background is that I run a company called NationBuild. I was given a vision a few years ago of the amount of money that gets brought into Africa, but the amount that actually goes to grassroots level is probably less than 1%. And we're talking billions. So how do we engage businesses so that they actually repeat it? One of my colleagues, Vanessa, is a trainer. Anything related to AI, she finds a new tool, she works with a company, smart.me. Please put it into your favorites. And the reason I say that is she changes it every week. She upgrades it. So she trains in the US, Canada, Europe, and Dubai. But then she finds new tools that help businesses, that help people. And it's really informative. Okay, so we're talking, and the emphasis on solution. When I was thinking about it, you spend 55 minutes on the problem and 5 minutes on the solution. And that always made me take a step back and say, am I focusing so much on the problem that I'm not solving anything? And the answer was yes. So I changed that. The first things first, anything and everything that you look at in your life started in your head. It either started by inspiration, it started with something that was pumping in your heart, but you have to understand your personality. Now, there's 4 personalities. We all have parts in this. But when we did this exercise with CXOs, CFOs, CTOs, it put us into 4 blocks. Now, if you have somebody in your team that's a blue person is generally an introvert. They are very clear on timelines. They don't forget details. They'll come back to you 3 weeks down the line and say, you said verbatim, this would be done. And they focus on the action. On Earth Green side, these people are the people that actually get people to do things. So they're very communicative. They don't instruct. They actually focus on how you're doing what you're doing. When we were doing this exercise with a psychologist, we figured out that Nelson Mandela was Earth Green because he always would find out who is the person, how are you doing, how is your family. On the red, generally these are CEOs. It's get in, tell me what we need to do, where's the gap, get out. They're fast, they're furious, they are not chit-chatty people. They really just want you to get to the point. Have you ever met anybody like that? You've got to get in, just tell them what you need to do and then get out. Okay. So the sunshine yellow balances because the sunshine, these 2 people are extroverts because the sunshine yellow is somebody that has the group's agenda in mind and then brings people together and sits down and has a chat. We'll go, and if they go to an event, they'll find out what you're about. My question to everybody, does anybody relate to any one of the colors? We all have all 4 colors, but there's a primary, there's a dominant color in you. And it's really important because we're focusing on being mindful and living intentionally. And you know what's amazing about those colors is that it really makes people feel welcome. They feel that they are part of it immediately. And it's quite an amazing skill. Can anybody guess my dominant color? Mine is called blue. I'm an extreme introvert and I like precise numbers. That counts against me because I look at different projects from different angles. So this is, if you're dealing with business, and this is where the AI meets people. So a client will have an idea. They've got a picture in their mind of what they want to do. Now you in your company or yourself are looking at this individual, and you'll see the team is below them and they're scattered. They're running, they're busy. So they're officially really, really busy. But my question is, with what? So very often people make something huge when it's not. And the remark that was made about pressure is really strong, because when you're under pressure, you can't think. There's a point at which you can handle pressure, and then pressure handles you, and you make the wrong decisions. This is what happens to people when they're under pressure. It's just talking at, everybody is rushing. So if you want to put together a 30-minute candidate to find, I don't know if any of you have ever recruited or hired people in your staff, but you'll find that 30 minutes is impossible. It's just not possible to find somebody in 30 minutes. That's where AI comes in, because AI is only as good as the information that's in it. The idea is to have AI-powered screenings, automated skills assessments, and behavioral analytics. How it would work is that on the top, you would have a requisition, you would sit with the stakeholders, find out what they need. You then do two things. You go to the applicant tracking system and do a search for, say, AI engineer. It throws out 400 CVs. You then create a bot to go through everybody's CVs. And then you'll come out with 15, and then you'll present that to the client. What's wrong with this picture? There can be somebody in that applicant tracking system that is outstanding. They just didn't have a keyword such as, I don't know, data, and it excluded it. It automated it and moved it away. Now, that's a problem for me, because yes, you sped up your recruiting process, but you haven't necessarily got the right person. I wanted to have a discussion around trust. The problem we're having right now with the next generation is that we are supposed to be the individuals that guide the next generation, because we don't know what they're going to be facing 10 years into the future. We don't know that. So we are supposed to be helping them. How do you build trust? Whether it's being, albeit your partner, your business partner, your clients, how do you build trust? I had a friend who's on the Microsoft project, which is quite a massive project on talent acquisition. She was an excellent recruiter for a number of companies, including Amazon. And she said, Tracy, I'm really afraid. I don't want to put up my hand and say I don't know anything, because I don't trust them. That they're going to say you didn't do it right, or you didn't do this, or you didn't do that. And when we're thinking about ourselves, you've also got to reflect about, where is your delta? Where do you need to work on yourself? Because the only reason you have a company is so that it actually advances and has an impact on individuals. AI-driven task allocation is where it's at. I'll give you a story. I had a client who said to me, Tracy, I've got 20 accountants. I don't need them. We can just get the system and then get rid of them. I said, you've got the budget. These are really hardworking people. They've been working for you for 10 to 15 years. He said, I don't care. Just do something. So I played with the budget, and I said, well, you've got a budget to train. How about if we redeploy something? He said, okay, what are you thinking? I said, teach them AI prompting. And I got a phone call at 3 a.m. and he was panicking because he said, Tracy, I don't know my GLs. I don't know what's happening in counting. I don't know where what is. How do I solve this problem? I'm lost. And I said, okay, that's fine. I'll arrange a meeting with because it was 20 people and 15 stayed. And they were prompt engineers. And we met in his office and we asked him, please just draw for us what the problem is. And he drew the problem. Where's the cash flow? Where are we missing this? Where are we missing that? Luckily, they were all accountants. So we divided into teams of 3. They spoke to the stakeholders, and then they came back at 5 and presented to the CEO. And every single person's answer was the same. There's gaps. You're not communicating. There's no communication going on. You've automated everything. Keep in mind that AI has got great potential, but it also has an ability of disconnecting people. And that's a big problem when you're running. If you're disconnected from yourself, if you're disconnected from your clients, if you're disconnected from your family, it has a real problem. It's leading to a lot of divorces. It's leading to a lot of challenges within a business. Okay. So this is an easy one. In this interviews, what I basically did was the traditional way. You can read it yourself, and the talent box way. So screening is manual review, and then AI-powered screening, objective and efficient. You've got to teach people how to prompt and make sure it's prompted correctly. What I've found is that people are afraid of touching things that they don't understand. It sounds simple to you, but somebody in Africa, $50 of data is enormous. It'll last them for 2 months. They don't necessarily have the skills, so you've got to run them through them. And you've got a traditional way of interviewing, but it's long cycles and it's biased. What AI is created to do is non-biased, and it's data-driven. It's looking at the risk, and you've got to be able to have people around the table, including individuals you wouldn't think to, like the tea lady. What is your problem? Tell me, how can we help? And if you see it, the way that I'm working is I'm saying that you've got to put the person first. You've got to understand yourself first to understand the value that you bring into people, and then you can add in AI. Okay. How many of you study something during the week? Read a book, watch a video. Do you have that continuous learning philosophy? For me, I was so busy running 2 companies that I was wasted. I was 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. I was building the business. I was networking. I was doing everything. And I actually had a burnout because I didn't make time for continuous learning. It doesn't take long. You can allocate 20 minutes a day if you want to, but you've got to do continuous learning because you can't give what you don't have. That's the most important thing. Because of social media, a human being has an attention span of 7 seconds. So personal growth, increasing confidence, making sure you are not only doing it for yourself, but you're taking the person to the next level. And Paula, well done on your book, because that sharing has a massive impact in the world. You're bringing it to the world. And that's what I believe, you birth something if you've got the right, when you intentionally drive your life in a direction. The next slide, please. Again, I have a thing about quality mindset. Junk in, junk out. If you're watching Netflix as opposed to maybe reading a book for 20 minutes, junk in, junk out. So and Stephen Bartlett, I don't know if any of you know him, and Jay Shetty, they were all talking about you've got units of time in your life, and there's 2 things you can never get back: time and efficiency. So what your mindset does matters. You've got to be focused on, I'm going to do this, but it's not the doing, it's the thinking first and then the moving after. So here, this is where it comes to, you'll find that people are, and this is what, when I first met Bernie, he hit me for a 6, because he hit all of these points about quality mindsets. He looked at attention to detail. There's always consistency coming through, accountability, owning your results, owning what you're doing, and continuous improvement. And my point is that has anybody ever watched Invictus? It's an old movie, but it was about Nelson Mandela and how he had to walk into civil war, but then get everybody together, which was really difficult. And I watched Invictus, and what he did as a Green, which was really impressive for me, he remembered everybody's name, and he'd take them out in a helicopter while they were training, and he'd say, welcome so-and-so, and I'm South African, and I can't even remember the rugby names, but he would reach out to them and say, you can do this. And the one thing he said to Matt Damon, who was the rugby captain, he said, how do you get people to do better than their best? How do you make them be excellent? And the answer comes in attention to detail. You've got to have a quality mindset, but damn it, you've got to have discipline. And you can't have a day where you want to put the duvet over your head. Next slide, please. Okay, this one's pretty easy. It's leaning towards disconnected teams. So it talks about compatibility scores, communication style, and conflict resolution prompts. Next slide, please. I think in visual. So here's where you've got, and this is what I want to ask the team, why is this podcast so powerful? Because I've sat here and I've seen people explain succinctly what they do, but I'm walking away super inspired. What is it that this entire team does that brings that? Because we're all coming from different directions, different lifestyles, different everything. Why is this a connected team, even though it's virtual and we do different things? What is it? You talk about impact and you talk about we. And I think that is the most powerful thing that we can possibly do, is that if you want to make an impact, don't think about what can I do. Think about what is needed, because there's so much out there. There's so many opportunities out there. We finished. My purpose was to explain that AI is an absolute game changer. It focuses on boosting performance on the humanitarian side. And the most important thing is communication. Thank you so much for having me, everybody, and have a great day.
Unlock the full potential of networking with East Trade Wins. Are you eager to connect with our esteemed guest speaker and delve deeper into the ever-expanding universe of connections? Simply scan the QR code now and embark on a journey of endless opportunities. Join us at East Trade Wines, where we gather online via Zoom every Tuesday from 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, you're welcome to connect with us. Seize the moment, register for free, and start exploring today. Fancy sharing your insights as a guest speaker? We're looking for you. Reach out to Wayne Pratt to ignite your speaking journey. Email him at wayne@motivateyou.ca or connect with Wayne on LinkedIn. Don't wait. Take action and be a part of a global community that's shaping the future of business networking.